Okay, well, welcome to part 2 of our Gentleman's Buyer's Guide to getting your dream garage within 30 years. It's actually not that difficult if you buy the right cars that aren't going to depreciate, look after them, sell them on, and keep putting money aside every month. That's the key to all of this. We talked last week about the Land Rover, which is undoubtedly the best car you can have as your first vehicle. It's cheap to insure, great fun, doesn't go too fast, so your parents won't be worried you're going to crash and die. And you can learn a bit about how to fix them. That's the other great thing. So you'll get some basic engineering skills out of it. But you're now 19, 2 years on. You've got your money in the bank from the Land Rover, which we can sell. You'll get your money back. That's 1,700 quid. You've been putting 50 quid a month for the last 2 years. That's an extra 1,200 quid. So now you've got 3 grand to play with. So what are you going to buy? I mean, you're going to want something probably a bit quicker. Definitely 2-seater. You don't need 4 seats, age 19. The obvious choice, of course, is the Mazda MX-5. Now, don't get me wrong, I think the Mazda MX-5 is an awesome car. It's well built, it's Japanese, of course, which means it's going to last, that it's not going to fall apart, and they're nippy. Read any classic car magazine, they'll open it up and say it's the future classic to get. And you can get one for 3 grand, no problem. The problem is, you're going to get in it every day and think, ooh, I'm in a Mazda MX-5, age 19. It's just not that cool. Plus all your mates are going to laugh at you and say you're a hairdresser and yada yada yada. And I know that shouldn't matter, but of course it does. I think, for your money, this is what you should get. Driving these cars is such a grin. It's just such good fun. You've got a 1275cc engine, which is nothing by today's standards, driving these tiny wheels, but it just feels like it's stuck to the road, like it's on rails. They're so nimble to drive around. I mean, this car was built in 1969, for God's sake, in the swinging 60s, and here we are in 2010 and it's still going like a dream. I think one of the nicest things about this car is not so much how it drives. I mean, God, there are thousands of cars which drive better. It's how it makes you feel. It makes you feel like an English country gentleman. And people stop and smile at you, and kids wave, and people let you through at junctions. It's just such a nice feeling. I mean, why wouldn't you buy a car like this? Why would you want a hot hatch that everyone thinks you're a complete tosser driving around it? And this is a thing of beauty. It's a thing of it's like a piece of art that's also divinely practical. Well, okay, that last bit's not strictly true, but nonetheless, you can really throw this car into the corners. I mean, I've done it now for a few years, and not once. Well, okay, once I've had a problem, but other than that, and that was mainly because of the tyres, I hasten to add. Originally they had these cross-ply tyres on, which basically was like having like roller skates on the bottom of your car, but the modern tyres are a lot better, and you just stick to the road. It's fantastic. Of course, we're in the winter now, but in the summer you can strap a hamper onto the back of the car and head down to a stream for a session of heavy petting with your newly acquired girlfriend. Okay, it's not all rosy with this car. It does have some downsides, I admit it. For instance, the emergency stop. The brakes are terrible. I'll show you, look. I'm going to do an emergency stop from now. That took about 15 seconds, which by today's standards is just crap. There's no doubt about it. But of course, you know, like all things, there are things you can do about it. You can get the brakes upgraded and all the rest of it. And also, how quickly do you need to stop anyway? If you're driving properly, if you're driving proactively, you won't need them. Of course, it would be wrong for me to tell you that this is cheaper to run than a modern car like a Fiesta or something. But actually, the nice thing about running these cars is that you feel like you're putting money into something that's not just going to disappear. You don't have any depreciation. In fact, last year in this car, I think I spent about 100 quid. I mean, literally, once they're sorted, once they're working, they'll just go on and on.